that. See if we get some people to come in here. We're gonna move around here a little bit. Wipe some of that stuff off. Whoa, what was that? Oh, that's not good. Let's sit up here. How's that work? That should work. Now, do I have the spray? Yes, I did. Clean some of this stuff off here. These little speed glaze. I need a bucket or something to stand on. Too short. Gosh darn it. Right back here. Ew, grody. Alright, let's see if. What in the world? Let's do the other side. Oh. Oh, what's that? It look like a brown spot. Don't know what that is. Ooh. Oh, it's a piece of. Ah, now that got ripped. Oh well, I'll take it off anyway. Looks gaudy. Alright. A lot of dirt. A lot of dirt. Grab the rag. And I'll do this here too while I'm at it. What's that? I can't tell if that's poop, but that just, it looks bigger than bird. I wonder if it's stuff from buffing that got kicked up on it. Well, anyway, we'll wipe it off. Try and keep it nice as we can. All right, maybe we'll do the trunk lid yet and then we're done. All right, here we go. The other thing I might do, I gotta see if I can get that grill, because I gotta start stripping down that header panel so that I can have that ready for paint at some point. cleaned that up. Wonder what else. Shop vacs out there. I could vacuum this out. Looks like leaves or some crap blew in here. How the heck did that happen? That's weird. Very weird. I guess I'll have to see if I can do anything with vacuuming that. Is there anything else I should clean out here? That can stay there. Oh, what is this? More crap. This stuff that was probably stuck under the seat. 2013. We can toss that. That's really not relevant. Garage door opener. There's a pen. Clean all this out next. Hair tie. I think that's what that is, yeah. Hair tie and some. That looks like a part for the shifter, so we'll put that in there. Let's see if we can get this other stuff out. Ew. I wonder if soda or something spilled in there, all sticky. I'll have to see if I have cleaner. Wipe that out. Whoa. Again, it's a part. Oh, it's for the radio button. They have a piece of satin trim that gets glued onto the button. That's what that was, so I gotta put that on at some point. I don't have a dish or anything to put this in. I'll have to go look for one. Looks like I have plenty of time. Nothing out here. What's this? I'll just grab this bowl. I'm gonna keep that here. Now that. Oh, I forgot to check if we even have cleaner down here. I don't think we do. Maybe what I'll do is let me first shop vac everything out, which would be hard because there's no light. It should be interesting. I should clean that up too. Maybe I'll do that first. Oh, I don't see. I don't like. I gotta get back on track with this thing. At least that's cleaned out. We gotta get some simple green or something so we can clean that up. I want to check something on my settings here. Boop. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to shift gears here. I was going to vacuum out the interior on the Buick, but I see there's another. I got to clean up the back of the Camaro here because I got tools to put away. So I'm going to do that. So I'm gonna move this. Got some shrink wrap I could maybe put on. I don't know. So we're gonna That goes with his. This goes over here. Trying to organize his toolbox. Good luck. This is all smaller stuff. I just want to get the stuff put away. That's all. No particular order. That's an adapter. That's not even right. That's not even a socket that should go there. So is anybody checking in today, or everybody just said it's Sunday? The heck with it. That one should go maybe there. Maybe there. Nope. Nope. Just put that there. I don't know. It gets to the point where it's just frustrated, just the heck with it. Alright, more sockets that I can't figure out, so we'll just throw them in wherever. Wrenches go over here. This can go. Don't know. All right, that can go there. Just at least that frees up some room in the back here. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. These wrenches I can take back. Oh, that's what I was going to do, but I don't have any bolts down here. This still hold them. I think that's going to be fine. I should try and pop. Oh, goodness, still got a cutoff wheel. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I got this bracket I got to pop the clip off of so I can use that. I actually need to relocate the clip, but there's no. Let me open the trunk. I think there's a straight screwdriver in there. Yeah, but try getting to it. I gotta get my stuff back up here at the house, so I gotta organize it down here. There's some more garbage. Well, this will be interesting. Trying to get this out. Almost need like a hammer. I don't think I have one down here. Of all the things I don't have is a hammer. Moved a little bit. Come on. Trying to get this clip out, and it's coming, but taking a long time. It's coming. Come on. Cut me some slack here. Whoop. Yeah. Okay, that works. We got it apart, thank goodness. Yowzes. Now, not crooked. Now it's the whole thing of finding a bolt for the cylinder head so I can bolt that on the front. And I don't think I have a bolt down here. I have to go look for one. I didn't bring my flashlight either, so this is, I can't. I do have my regular plug-in light, so maybe what I'll do, I'll try and work with that down here. But it still doesn't answer that I don't have a bolt. I don't have a bolt, so we got that problem. So I'll have to go look for a bolt at some point on that. What I can do is I got to shut the trunk because I don't think there's anything there for me to do because there's no bolts there. So we'll just close. I do have the key, right? Yeah, I do. All right. So close that. No bolts. No, well, there's bolts here, but I don't think those are the right size bolt. I don't think for that. Yeah, probably not. It's probably not the right size bolt. So yeah. Well, see what else I can get done here. If anything, I think it pretty much yesterday. Everything pretty much got done yesterday. I mean, the only thing I could do, we're going to take a look back here. Did I put a shrink wrap on the negative cable on the battery side? Yes, I did. So I think everything is kind of like done here with the what we can do with the battery here. As that cable goes to there, we have the positive, we have the ground. Now the only problem I have is here. I might have to do something with that. Maybe I'll put like a metal filler in there since I burned a hole in it. But it is holding my ground, so that's good. I also should see about getting the. I don't think that's good. You know what? I could make it cover here. About getting the plastic interior pieces, and I could hide all that. That would be crazy. So anyway, let's see what else. A lot of other stuff here. I keep hearing banging of doors and stuff outside. So yeah. Keep wondering who's here when there's nobody here. Problem is the Sheetz is too close to the house. So people slam a car door at Sheetz, freaking echoes. So that's what the deal is. So let's see if that stays. I didn't bring any glue down. I was thinking glue that on, but I don't even have cleaner. It's like something sticky in that not the ashtray, but the tray for the console. I don't know if that's like soda or condensation, whatever. So we'll have to see. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to make a list. I mean, some stuff I need to take back up to the house, and then I have to make a list of what I need down here because I don't see any cleaner. I could clean that out, bring the shop vac in, shop vac the inside out, and then if I had glue, I could glue that piece on for the tuner knob, but I don't. So anyway, let's see. I don't know if that bolt will fit. What I want to do is I want to use that L bracket. The other day when Lloyd was here, pointed out that the ignition wires are like touching where the steering shaft comes down on the left side of the engine, which would be the driver's side. So he has suggested L bracket to bolt it to the front of the head, but then have it come. In other words, you bolt it in the front, it comes out and goes down part way of the block, and then putting a mount there, and then being able to tie the ignition wires over up out of the way of the steering shaft, which would take away any kind of potential damage to the ignition wire. So I have the bracket, I have a clip that would fit in the bracket to hold the wires. However, I don't think I have a bolt down here. So I'm going to have to see about getting a bolt at some point. Get my jar of bolts down here. And so yeah, I probably have something in there I could use just to kind of take that potential damage control kind of thing, potential damage out of there. So yeah. So I'm just trying to see what else I could do here. So this actually turned out not too bad, wiping that down. Still mad about the header panel, which that's gonna have to wait till the spring, I think, till I can work on that, because I'm gonna have to repaint it. I'm not too thrilled about the fact that what I did, but that's life. So it is what it is. But I'll paint it. We'll fix what's wrong with it. We'll paint it and we'll go forward. But so anyway, I've been doing some work. I'm going to show you guys around on the Camaro. I haven't done much on the Buick, I have to admit. But who's all here today? Nobody comments today. Okay, I guess it's Sunday. Nobody feels like it. All right, so I'm going to switch the camera around here. So the biggest deal was, and I don't have. So the biggest thing was putting these shrink wraps on with the battery cables here, and obviously using red on the positive, so that way we can tell the difference with that. And I'm going to pause right here. I know this sounds, Eric, you're nuts. I know. I'm going to see if I can get a light. I didn't realize it was this dark. So I want to get a light to plug in. What do I have plugged in? Or do I have, no, that's for the heat gun. We don't need the heat gun. We need the light. Oh, hang with me. All right, so we're gonna have some light. Oh my goodness. So let's try this again, folks, this time with feeling. So let's flip this around. So maybe now you can see a little better with wrap. on the, that's the negative. We did one here also on the positive cable. Just to make sure there's no bare wires or there's no chafing going on, we put one also on the ground down. So if you can look down there, it's hard to see, but there was a nut and bolt that was holding that ground. So what I did was actually Lloyd came up with a ground stud. He actually put one together for me. So then I went ahead and I welded it in, and then we also ran a 19 millimeter lock nut on the bottom side, so it's bolted and welded. And then we of course we ground everything down to metal, so that it's metal to metal contact for that ground. However, you can see I burned through, so I got to figure out if I need to weld plate on there or something to do with that. So that was a little bit. We also re-drilled the holes where the cables come into the battery box to make them more round and uniform. I used a step drill bit, so that's going to make it a little more room, and then there's less chance for chafing of the wires. The other thing I did yesterday, I took these grounds off of here. You can see I ground metal to metal, and I put the grounds back on. I'm going to paint it, but I'm just having it like that for now. I didn't get around to painting it yet. I did the same thing here. Now, there's also a ground. I'm going to try and have my light actually cooperate with me, to be amazing. So I don't know if you can see here, and if you look, it's hard to see. Down there. Yeah, I know. The phone's having a fit, but I can't. I don't know if you see that bolt right there. You see it right on my finger? There's a blue, that's a blue electric connector, and you have this braided ground which goes up to the cylinder head here. So I took that bolt out and I ground it down. Well, here, when I took the bolt out, there's a broken connector, and I was wondering what the heck is going on. Why, obviously something broke, and I didn't know what. So this wire here was just hanging in midair. So I was like, well, maybe that's a ground wire. So I stripped it. I crimped a new connector on, ground that to bear, so it's metal to metal contact. So then I put that bolt in. Now I was having an issue when we were going over the wiring of the car. We were trying to lighten the car up. We took some wiring out, and so we have to rewire the taillights. We don't have taillights because everything was interwired, whatever. So when I cut, we eliminated the circuit that we didn't need. Didn't realize that the taillights were also wired into that circuit. So that was bad on us. But then we also had an issue with the headlights were like acting weird, like high beam was low beam or was shifting around. One was bright, one was dark, all kinds of weird stuff. So just by putting that ground on, we now have, it's hard to tell, but I have my lights. Now that's the low beam with the fog lights on. So everything is working just by that. And it was really weird because it was acting like, I even thought to myself when I thought that one was dim, one was dim, one was bright. And it was kind of, the high beams were on with the low beams. This is really weird. It just didn't seem right. And I think I even said to myself, I wonder if we somehow lost the ground. So here I thought it was a ground that was inside the car. I was like, well, I'll address that when we rewire everything. But I was wrong. So obviously I was wrong about that. It was that wire there. I'm just tickled pink that was able to find it. And it only took that little bit to fix that problem. So I was really worried we had to rewire the headlights. Now we don't. So I am really thrilled about that. Got those working. So yeah. Other than that, that's just basically what we're going to be working on this winter with the Camaro, is mostly wiring. Like I said, we're going to get we're going to get these taillights figured out. Okay, who is Susan? Is it Stadel? At Susan Stadel. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, good morning, Susan. Thanks for checking in. So our next job is going to be getting these taillights to work again. I have a theory, or I have an idea. I may make 2 J blocks with 4 pins. So that way I can run 1 power wire back to 1 J block and run a ground wire to the other J block, and then just wire into those J blocks, and that should work. But y'all know how that is. You can write it down on paper, but then until you actually do it, could be something, it might not work. It may work. You don't know until you actually wire it up, throw power to it, and see what it does. So fingers crossed on that. But yeah, kind of excited. I was really hoping we could have got this out last week to the track, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, that wasn't to be. For whatever reasons, I don't know, but we could have raced it the way it was, but that's all right. So it just means we're going to be that much better when we come out next year. As far as the Turbo T, we got the headlight bezels out of it because, as you can see right there, about the paint damage, that's my F up. So I'm going to strip the grill. I'm going to take the emblem off, and then I'm going to go ahead and mask everything up. I'm going to wet sand everything with 600, and then I may dust it with primer, and then I already have silver paint that I'm going to just paint the header. You can see where that seam is. So that's just, thank you, Susan. That's where I'm going to mask it and just paint that top piece, the whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of the plan with that. Still going to work on cleaning up the Buick and getting it real good. And that's hopefully going to be it. I'm hoping the Camaro is just a matter of wiring. We'll see if things develop. We may or may not do some performance upgrades to the Camaro. Not 100% sure yet, but we'll keep it guys posted if we do. What the heck? Oh yeah, that must be where I cut my lip. I was wondering what that mark was on my lip. Like what? So anyway, I was using a plastic fork the other night. I went to Chicky and Pete's at Dorney Park, and I got a steak sandwich and I have crab fries, which crab fries are awesome. So I was using a fork to dip the crab fries into their cheese sauce. And there must have been something with the fork, a sharp edge or something, and it cut my lip, and it's been bothering me the last 2 days. So now I'm like, I wonder if yep, there it is. So yeah, you get to deal with that. So I just want to give an update. Like I said, just basically today, just going over stuff that I did, wipe the cars down. Like I said, nothing really earth shattering I'm doing with the cars. I'm trying to make it that this winter is fairly low key. Just doing preventive maintenance, looking for anything that could lead to problems, mostly with the Camaro, with racing it. Just looking for stuff. Like I said, the ignition wires is one thing. Should be able to cure that problem by just putting a bracket on there and then zip tying the wires or whatever, the separator to that. So that should be a relatively easy fix. The other thing we're going to do, I'm waiting to get wire. I need double aught welding cables, so we're going to run another ground wire from the back of the car up here to about, I want to go from the back, and then here, let me see if I can open up the hood here. I want to run another ground stud somewhere this shock tower area. I'm going to probably on the back side here somewhere. So then what I want to do is have that cable come up to here and go wherever the block is going to be, wherever I decide to have it. But then I want to run another ground from the starter bolt, which would ground the engine block and the starter. I want to run that to that ground block. And then also the bell housing where the transmission bolts up to the engine. I want to run a ground from the bolt to ground. So that way it double grounds the engine block, also helps ground the transmission, and run that also to that ground stud that I'm going to have. That's going to be its own separate circuit, if you will, a really big ground cable running back to the battery, so that everything's like double grounded. So that way, I think that should help as far as with any kind of, if I have any electrical interference with the terminator system that's on it, or any sensor issues, it should help with that, which I haven't yet. The car starts right up and it's good, but I want to be doubly sure that this car is really grounded, because with the fuel pumps and other stuff, it's going to be drawing a lot of amperage. The other thing I want to do, I'm kind of on the fence if I'm going to do it this year. First of all, I want to take an opportunity. There's Nate. I want to give a shout out to him. He's been helping me tremendously with this electrical stuff and high. But the factory, this is terrible lighting, but you see where the factory cluster is here. So I'm going to take that out. I don't want to use the term rip it out, but I'm going to take it out. And what I want to do is I want to see if I can fabricate out of sheet metal like a shell. And then what I want to do is, since my gauges, if you look in there, hard to see, but I got gauges there. I have a gauge down there. I'm also going to be adding a fuel level gauge. So what I'm thinking of doing is I want to build a shell that it'll bolt into the stock location, but move all my gauges into there and bolt everything together and then wrap it in carbon fiber. And then I'll have my oil pressure gauge, water temp gauge, volt gauge, or oil pressure, water temp, voltage, fuel level gauge. Those 4 gauges right in front of me. I am not, however, going to get rid of the tag. I like the 5-inch monster tag with the shift light. I like where it's at. It works for my where I have it. I can watch the tree. I can watch my RPMs at the same time. So that's going to stay. However, I want to try and clean up the interior so it doesn't look so cluttered. And like I said, I want to see, that's going to be a bit of a deal there to do that. But that's the game plan, is make a custom dash for it next if I can. So yeah, that might not be more till spring. We'll wait and see what happens. But I have to first get that all apart, and then I have to make templates. I'm going to try using poster board to make templates, and then transfer those templates onto actual sheet metal, cut them out, and then weld everything together, and then put the gauges in. So it's going to be a lot of hours of fabricating and stuff like that, and we'll see how that all transpires with that. But I think it would just have helped the car look a lot better. Well, it would clean up the interior for sure. So that's kind of what I'm after right now. But yeah. So that's what's going on for now. I'm going to get going here because my kids have a trunk or treat that they want to go to. So I have to go and do that with them. And I also just got done. I'm down here. I'm now at, and I'm going to make some, I got to figure out how I can make this more user friendly. But this garage is actually my parents' house. As everybody knows, my father passed away 6 weeks ago. So we got I inherited the all original 86 Buick Regal T-Type, original paint, original interior. So that's not going anywhere. That's staying. I'm not selling that. I'm keeping that original, just cleaning it up, and going to have that as my Sunday car, if you will. His Mazda 6 we sold, so that freed up garage space. And my mom said, hey, use garage space. And I said, hey, I jokingly said, hey, why don't I put the Camaro down here? That way it's not sitting in the trailer all winter. And she goes, well, go ahead. So there it is. So for the first time in how many years, the Camaro will be in the garage. It'll be up on jack stands, and it'll be easier to work on. And then also the other cool development is, which freed up my enclosed trailers. So now I have the Corvette, which was always out in the weather. I had a cover on it, but it was always out in the weather. Now the Corvette's sitting inside the enclosed trailer, so that way it's not exposed to the weather. So that's what's going on. Anyway, say all that to say that so my mom, obviously now with me being the only, well, my sister, that's a whole nother story. So I'm basically she disowned the family, so I get stuck dealing with everything. So my parents a few years ago put in a rice coal stoker stove to heat the house with. And anybody who deals with coal knows that you just don't throw a match at coal and it lights. There's a process to it. So for the last day or so, a couple people have tried doing it. Unfortunately, a gentleman yesterday tried, and he used starter fluid, and I do not like using that. It makes the house stink. Plus, it's dangerous as hell. So I tried yesterday, and I almost had it going, and then the fire fell in the ash bin. So that screwed that up. So then, thought about this. Anyway, let me make a long story short. Mom went to church, and I said, look, I might stop down and see if I can get the stoker going. She says, if you could, that would be amazing. I said, well, I'll be down. So she left for church. So I brought my son down. So here, the automatic hopper, we took all the coal out of it. So that way, that's what happened yesterday. The coal started coming in through the hopper, and it pushed the fire out. So we shoveled all that out. I took the coal that was left in the burn box and I actually built a wall down at the bottom of because it's on an incline. So I built a wall to help hold the fire in there. So I went ahead and I got some wood and newspaper, started it up. And for some reason, I found some old barbecue charcoal that was in the back corner in a bag. So I grabbed that, I threw wood in for probably about a good 10 minutes or so, got it hot, threw the charcoal in, and unfortunately, the fire almost went out, and I was getting mad. So for whatever reason, something in my head told me, hey, turn on the stoker fan. And so I did. Well, when I did that, within like a minute, what I thought was just ashes, it was a rip-roaring fire. So I'm like, oh, this is good. So I kept putting kindling underneath the charcoal to make sure that that would catch, and it did. So after a while, they're running rice coal. So the rice coal caught. So now it's starting to burn the coal, which I'm like, oh, that's a huge hurdle when you get the firebox hot enough to get that coal to catch. Well, then it ended up being with the flame, it didn't take long. The whole tray was nice and red with that little blue flame that comes off the coal. And I said, all right, well, we're good, Levi. So we started dumping coal inside the hopper so that way it helps feed into that fire. And so then I figured out, I got the fan going for the circulatory, so that way it's for the forced air part of it. And the house is pretty toasty now. And I'm going to go downstairs here in a little bit, and I'm going to check on that. And I think Mom's going to be very happy when she comes home and her house is really, really warm. So it'll be good. So I did that this morning. A couple other little things here and there. So I figured I'd do a live and check in with you guys. Trying to check in with the cars and what's going on, keep you guys up to date. But I'm practically almost out of time. I think we gotta leave shortly. My kids want to go over to this trunk or treat, so we're gonna go over there, do that. I may, if I'm able to, I want to see if I can figure out why the Corvette isn't running good. I'm hoping it's just a choke or idle mixture issue. So I may dive into that later. I don't know. I really need to clean up down here because I got all my junk from trying to do that stud. I got my welder, I got other grinders, a heat gun, all kinds of crap down there. and some sockets laying around. I need to get that cleaned up before someone comes out here, trips, and get hurt. So, yeah. I got to work on, got to drill, all kinds of stuff. So I got to get that cleaned up. So I may do that later. If I do anything with the Corvette, I may try and do a live at that time to see if I can get that thing running right. But it's not a huge priority because it's the end of the season anyway. It's just my OCD kicking in, saying, "Hey, you really need to have everything running nicely before winter, so that way when you come out into spring, everything's good." So we'll see. Go from there with that. So, in fact, you know what? Let's go in the house. I want to go in here, see if it's warm. Ooh, it does feel warm in here. Wow. Now, I don't like, it still smells like starter fluid in here. And that's from the guy yesterday. And I do not like starter fluid. I did it one time years ago with a coal stove I had. And I darn near, I cracked the stove. So no more lighter fluid. Let's go down here. Now, let's see. Can we... I see. Is it still going? Oh, yeah. Whoa! I almost fell. Well, there we are. Looks like it's working pretty good right now. Now, the only thing I'm wondering, if I need to give it a little more draft. We'll do that. But yeah, it feels like it's a little warm in here. Which is good. Which is good. We'll give that a little more draft. That should make that fire up. That should make it, hopefully give it a little more gas. I like the flame a little higher than that. Now, Mom might say that's okay, but I like it a little hotter. That way it doesn't. So, all right, so back out. I'll go back out in the garage here. See what. Oh, yeah. Oh, the other thing, too, is the door. I'm going to close. Let me close the door to the sunroom. That might help, too. It was just so hot that I opened that up, but I should probably close that up again. All right. Okay, well, we're back out here. So, make sure everything... Yeah, I do have that turned off, yeah. All right, guys, so I'm going to end it here. I'm going to head up, and I got to head out to a trunk or treat. Anyway, so I'm going to... my brain's like going everywhere, sorry. Anyway, we'll see you guys. Like I say every day, do it for Hank. And watch out for each other. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time right here on Big E's. Bye for now, guys.